Hey my friend, Adam here. All right, bit of an interesting video here for you today, a little bit off the cuff, but something just sort of triggered me to make a video and to share with you something that I've thought for a long time, but I don't really talk about a whole lot, that I think will serve you well as you go to build a business and a life that you actually love and that sort of fulfills all of your needs. Now, apologies in advance. I got my sweatpants on, there's construction going on outside, you're gonna hear some hammering and some sawing as we build a new studio. But this is important to get this out. So let's dive right into it. I just saw a video that I thought was brilliant by a guy named Charlie Morgan, who is an incredibly successful entrepreneur. He's was based out of Dubai, originally from the UK. And the whole point of the video was essentially he made a declaration that he's moving back to the UK. Now, all of the, whatever you may know or not know about Dubai, it's sort of well regarded as like a tax-free haven, right? Like you can go there, you can set up a business, you can make a ton of money, you can get it all tax-free, which as someone who has lived and worked overseas before and made a whole bunch of money tax-free, it sounds amazing on the surface, right? Like if you're making 100 grand, you pocket 100 grand. You're making $1 million, you pocket $1 million, rather than paying tax. On the other hand, countries like the UK and Canada, we've got some of the highest tax rates ever. Huge tax rates. Now there's corporate tax and there's personal tax and all that, but we can just sort of universally agree that we're going to pay a lot more tax to live in places like the UK and Canada. So why would he make this change? Well, I'll make sure to link up the video so you can check it out and hear his stuff in his own words and that, so I don't put words in his mouth or misinterpret things. But it's incredibly important, and the big takeaway that I got from it, and it's something that I was really happy to hear him say, was that there was a quality of, I mean, he said it was from a business standpoint, and it was an educated business decision to be closer. But for me, and the reason that I've chosen to live in quote-unquote a high-tax area, is there's a quality of life aspect that not a lot of people talk about. And it's become more and more important the older that I've gotten, and the more established in my career that I've gotten. I think in the early days, you have to be willing to make those sacrifices and sort of burn the midnight oil and go to the large urban centers where you're going to meet the most amount of people and have the most opportunity for serendipity and, again, opportunity to sort of just get churned up as a result of you being there. But like over time, we've got to start thinking about why are we building these businesses in the first place? What is the end goal that we're really after? It's the classic Simon Sinek, start with why. We have to be clear on what we're trying to build. Now, there's a ton of stuff on the ideal entrepreneurial lifestyle, right? The time, location, financial freedom. And there's a great Will Smith quote, which is a very privileged quote to get to share, but essentially it's, I wish everybody could be rich and famous so they see that doesn't solve your problems or it's not as great as it is or whatever it is. And this is the reason that I strongly believe that people really should push to become rich and famous or whatever your goals are, at least financially responsible or financially independent. You have to be financially responsible to get financially independent. Because once you have that, you realize quickly that your problems aren't gone. You've just opened up a whole new level of problems. And in fact, if anything, I think probably one of the hardest years of my life personally was the year that I realized that I was financially free. I had enough money now to live the rest of my life and never have to work again. And again, incredibly privileged thing to say, but like, man, I fell into a deep existential crisis, borderline depression, of like, what's the meaning of life? Why am I here? What am I even doing? Why work anymore? And things got dark. They got really dark. Now we pulled through. We found some other meaning. A lot of this came from reconnecting with serving others. And I think that's kind of the answer to most of our world's problems, really, is if you can find a way to serve other people. But regardless, as I continue to rant here, you've got to figure out what you want out of your business. And you've got to get really clear on your values and your goals and the sacrifices that you're willing to make in order to achieve those, as well as the sacrifices that you are not willing to make in order to achieve those. So again, bring it back full circle. For me, choosing to live in, say, a high tax country, I've got access to good education for the kids, good healthcare systems, friends and family are all here. Yeah, we pay a lot in taxes, but I feel like the taxes are relatively well managed. At least the roads aren't falling apart and the water comes out clean from the taps and things like that. And then we just allocate the business decisions, the accounting and finance decisions accordingly. So we maximize the tax laws. Obviously, we don't take advantage of anything or skirt the law or anything, but there's a lot of deductions you're able to take as a business owner. You can funnel things through the corporations. There's ways of setting up different kinds of trusts. There's all kind of fancy pants stuff that you can do later. But the real key is figuring out how much do you really need to live your ideal lifestyle And both in regards to revenue, but also profit, the amount of money that you're going to take out. And then what is your ideal lifestyle? Is it working 4 hours a day, 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day, never again? Is it working 80 hours a week and just grinding away and building this kind of life? Is it working in different kinds of industries in different parts of the world? I mean, granted, we are all connected globally now over the internet, so we do have access to basically anyone that you can think of, but there is a certain element of face-to-face, human-to-human connection and interaction that just, I can't say strongly enough how valuable and how important it is. In fact, the best friends that I have, even my internet friends, if I can go and meet them in person, even once or twice, it forms a different kind of bond and a different kind of connection, because now you're no longer just like a face on the screen. You realize that this is an actual living, breathing human being, and you care for them a little more and you're willing to help them a little more, and you establish sort of better relationships. Again, the best joke that a friend has ever told me, it's always in person. It's never kind of over a computer. It just doesn't stick as emotionally charged. So there's that. I think those are the big takeaway points. Really, it's being crystal clear on what you want to do. And also, when you're looking at people living these digital nomad lifestyles, that's amazing. And if that's you, by all means, go for it. As someone who's done that, who's spent more than, I don't even know, two years of my life, like literally 700 plus days living in hotel rooms, scattered out over a couple of years, it gets old fast. Like takeout and room service and having to do your laundry whenever they're available and not having a place to call home and put your stuff, it does get old. That said, if you want to do it, go check that box off. But don't let anybody ever shame you for wanting to live a simple life in a small town or on a farm somewhere or in this kind of place or that kind of place. It's really going to come down to you and what you're after. Also keep in mind that if you are in a good state and in a good place mentally, you're going to be more productive. And there's a certain element of routine and repetition that, again, I can't stress enough, that if you can get yourself into a routine where you're able to do the same kind of things habitually over and over and over, that's where success comes from. Success is never this like one-off thing where you sit down and have an amazing day and never have to repeat that again. It comes from these slow incremental builds that we have to put on and stack each block on top. So if you're able to sort of simplify your life and your routine, cut out all the extraneous noise, cut out the constant traveling, at least for a little bit, you'll find that your brain will be able to clear all that clutter. No longer are you thinking, where's the next Airbnb that I have to check into? Or where's the next meal that I'm gonna have to get? Or where am I gonna be able to get my clothes washed or get Wi-Fi access? Like if you have all of that planned out, you can just go into your office in the morning or wherever you work and just execute like a straight up killer. You can just get things done. This is the reason that my routine is just so ridiculously boring, regimented. So wake up 4 a.m., have a quick pre-workout and early breakfast, work out at the gym, straight to work for a good 4, 5, 6 hours of solid, uninterrupted, deep work, stop for lunch. Everything's planned out. Meals are all pretty much prepped ahead of time. Go back for a little bit more. Go to bed ridiculously early, around 8:30 or 9 p.m. at the absolute latest, typically 8. Do it all again. And that way, when I go and when I show up in the right places, my brain knows that it's time to perform. I know what I'm going to be able to eat and where I'm going to be able to, what I'm going to wear and what I'm going to work on. Everything's structured, and it just becomes almost effortless to just go through the motions. So again, don't shy away from boring. Don't shy away from anything that you are after. You got this. It's up to you. No one's coming to save you. It's up to you to choose and to build the life that you want. And that's right for you. Okay, that's it. Talk to you soon.